welcome to the What's New in Cloud Network Security session. And in this breakout session, we'll be talking about everything that's new since we last met in Cloud Next of 2023. I'm Manisha Gupta, Group Product Manager with Google Cloud Networking. And today, I'll be joined with my esteemed colleagues who are subject matter experts in cloud network security. And they will share their insights on how these innovations from Google Cloud can enable you to secure your distributed application infrastructure and help you build modern applications faster. So quick agenda, we'll start off with an overview of cross-cloud network security, and then we'll quickly dive into the two key use cases that we are going to focus on as part of this session. Sid was going to talk about how to enable consistent security for your distributed multi-cloud application infrastructure. Peter is going to talk about how to deliver these distributed applications from any cloud through a global front end securely. And Richard will join us to share his perspective on how these solutions can enable an organization like McKesson to build and deliver applications securely in the cloud. And at the end, we'll have a Q&A. Please use one of our mic runners to grab a mic if you have a question, or catch hold of us in the hallway after the session. So let's get started. We are at a critical inflection point in networking. And why is that? As we all know, AI/ML is top of mind for most of the CIOs and the CXOs across the industry for improving their productivity, their organizational productivity, operational excellence of their organizations. In a recent survey, 66% of the respondents, and these were all enterprises, they said that they are going to adopt multi-cloud driven by their needs to consume best-of-breed AI/ML services. A large number of our customers are increasingly adopting SaaS services as they're modernizing their applications. And they want to consume best-of-breed services that are readily available to integrate as part of their stack. And these applications are more often, they are distributed across hybrid environments. Part of it is on-prem. They might be running in one cloud, multiple clouds, right? So they are composite applications distributed everywhere. And these are some of the drivers for multi-cloud adoption. So what happens with this kind of a distributed deployment? Cybersecurity, it's already a growing concern. And what you are now dealing with is a much expanded threat surface as your data is moving across these different environments. And you have cross-cloud dependencies for your application stack. The second big challenge is the traditional controls that have been used for securing the perimeter. They are no longer effective. As we all know, attacks are becoming sophisticated, multi-layered, multi-stage attacks. The threat actors are getting more and more sophisticated. They have more advanced tools available to them to morph or to launch new attacks very, very fast. So not only does the network need to support these new requirements, but it also needs to layer in security effectively to help organizations who are working towards modernizing their applications, wanting to consume these best-of-breed services. They can do so and move faster without having to worry about security. Now, the traditional way of building these multi-cloud applications was to build bespoke networks to connect from point A to point B. This could be your on-prem locations connecting to a cloud. You're trying to connect across different clouds. You're trying to consume SaaS services privately or over the internet. So these are all bespoke networks that got built over a period of time in a layered fashion. And one of the main concerns with these bespoke networks is that they create multiple security perimeters. And you may be using different types of security controls to secure each of these mini perimeters in your environment. And this leads to security gaps because all these different solutions, they don't always work seamlessly together. And you have to bring in insights from a lot of these different solutions and try to make sense out of it. So what are customers typically looking to secure? They're looking to secure workloads. They're looking to secure the data. They're looking to secure against threats like DDoS, sensitive data loss protection. And they often layer zero trust architectures on top of this bespoke network fabric, creating disjointed solutions that are not only hard to manage, but they also lead to security inefficacies. For data loss prevention, we typically see discrete solutions for protecting data at rest and protecting data in motion. And this makes it very difficult for organizations to achieve data compliance and to clear security audits. So I guess the key message here is that security cannot be an afterthought. As you are building your distributed multi-cloud applications, security has to be built into the fabric. And security controls, they need to be simple and scalable to configure and enforce. And security audits and compliance, they need to be fast and easy to achieve. And that is really what we are trying to solve for as part of our cross-cloud network initiative. And finally, once you've built these applications, you're looking to deliver these applications over the internet to your users. And enabling a consistent user experience is a key consideration when choosing a front-end vendor. And as you're looking to deliver these applications to different environments, most organizations, they end up adopting a multi-vendor solutions that they think is most suitable for delivering applications from a cloud environment or from an on-prem environment where these application backends are running. Disaggregated regional front-end solutions, they add additional layers of complexity. Like you need some kind of DNS load balancing now in order to send your users to the different service endpoints based on which service endpoint is the most healthy at that given point in time. But more importantly, most of these front-end solutions, they come with inbuilt web security controls. And you get tied to those inbuilt web security controls because they do not offer, most of the time, they do not offer the ability to bring in advanced security controls from vendors that you prefer to work with. These could be API protection, this could be bot protection, or it could be any other custom business logic that you want to bring in to customize this solution. So delivering modern internet-facing applications requires a robust global front-end infrastructure that ensures user proximity and intelligent traffic steering to achieve lowest latency. It secures the application against any zero-day attacks in any environment where the application backend could be running. And it enables you the flexibility to bring in your advanced controls to meet your business needs. So with cross-cloud network, the way we have designed cross-cloud network, security is built in. And it is built in for zero-day protection against unknown attacks from any cloud to any service using our native ML-based out-of-the-box capabilities. And you can turn it on at scale without having to rethink your network architecture or your routing flows. All the different personas in our organization, DevOps, NetOps, SecOps, they can all operate across a single service-centric network, execute everything from publishing the application to ensuring security is consistently applied to every workload and service that constitutes the application that you have built. And you can do this by applying zero trust principles. You can do this by leveraging our inline data protection capabilities, as well as our ML-powered threat protection capabilities that we're going to talk about in more detail. And our solution also enables the security teams to turn on a very comprehensive data protection solution across data in motion and data at rest, a single solution that provides you full visibility and helps you protect your data no matter where it is, and also the ability to bring in an inline DLP provider of your choice. So if you're already working with someone, we will allow you to bring that DLP solution into our environment and be able to seamlessly integrate with our native services. And with our global front-end solution, your internet-facing apps are protected against any zero-day attacks with our inbuilt ML-based web security. So single global front-end to deliver your applications where the backends could be hosted in GCP, they could be hosted in another environment, delivered securely over our cross-cloud network. And we also know that some of you, a lot of you want to bring in your third-party services. And we allow that through our data plane extensions where you can bring in these services, or you can even insert your own code within the data plane itself. And Peter is going to talk a lot more about that. So with all of these controls available out of the box, security teams can easily monitor and manage the network security posture of your entire organization through our org level policies. So think about compliance, right? Your security admin can now configure policies at an org level that your entire org, all the projects in that org need to comply with. Very easy from a compliance perspective, very easy from an auditing perspective, and operationally very, very easy because all your underlying projects are gonna, in your hierarchy, are gonna inherit those policies. Security in GCP is simple and scalable to configure and to enforce, unlike any other cloud that requires you to redesign your network. So I will now hand it over to Sid, who will talk about protecting distributed applications using cross-cloud network native controls. Sid?
Thanks, Manisha, and good afternoon, everyone. Let's go right ahead. In my customer conversations, and Manisha mentioned this as well, many of you have been talking about how you're building distributed applications that go across clouds. You're picking and choosing best-of-breed components. You're choosing managed services that are from multiple providers. While this provides agility for development, as well as might help you with benefits like time to market, the networking infrastructure that is hosting this application, that is letting this traffic traverse through across cloud boundaries, brings in a lot of challenges from a security perspective. With this in mind, we are now bringing a multi-layered security approach to solve this challenge of protecting distributed application infrastructure. Some of the key components I'll be talking about will be our Cloud NGFW, which is our distributed firewall service, which is built into our networking fabric, our secure web proxy product, which helps secure your connections from your workloads to internet or SaaS destinations, Cloud NAT, which is our managed network address translation service that keeps network access private and simple, and finally, GKE networking with network policy, that is an enhancement of the native Kubernetes network policy to bring in a lot more granularity and secure control to your clusters. Now let's dive into each of these product areas, starting with Cloud NGFW. Cloud NGFW is built on a distributed architecture and brings security and inspection as close to the workloads as possible. It is operationally simple. You can transparently insert it, no routing changes needed at all. And also, it is highly scalable, scales with your security and performance needs. It also has built-in network posture management, where you now can use things like features like hierarchical policies, secure tags, as well as firewall insights to help optimize your security posture. For example, you have hierarchical policies. You can create and enforce consistent security across your organization. Second, you have firewall insights that give you very valuable ML-driven metrics that can help you optimize your posture. And security tags gives you very granular workload identification and segmentation. Now, at previous Next, we launched Cloud NGFW Enterprise, our top-tier offering, in preview mode. It was very, very well received. It was, in fact, the largest preview we have had within our cloud networking portfolio. Shows the amount of interest and demand we have seen from customers for this product. And I'm very, very pleased to now announce general availability of this product starting today. So you can go and try it out immediately. This is built on the same distributed architecture, so you get all of the benefits I just spoke about. And additionally, it provides intrusion prevention capabilities from technology stack from Palo Alto Networks that helps you detect and prevent malicious traffic from software exploits, malware, and command and control channels. It also provides built-in TLS inspection capabilities, so now you can decrypt traffic and inspect for hidden threats within your encrypted channels at scale. Now, we'll have a much more deep dive session on this topic from my team who will go into demos, use cases, and migration journeys. So please attend Sec 301 tomorrow, where I'll be focusing on this. Next, we have our secure web proxy product, which is mainly used for ensuring that your workloads are connecting to known and authorized destinations. Additionally, it provides many benefits, such as it's a fully managed service. So you no longer need VM upkeep or VM scaling or VM installations. No more self-managed third-party products like Squid proxies. You can replace them and use secure web proxy. It also has built-in granular security policies that bring in zero trust implementations. And it also provides very rich logging in HTTP and HTTPS, so you can use it for things like compliance, auditing, threat detection response, for incident response, as well as forensics. Now, let's get into the new features that we have launched in this product area, starting with inline network DLP. We are pleased to announce a partnership with Broadcom, where we are bringing in semantics DLP capabilities into our Google Cloud secure web proxy as well as load balancers to help customers safeguard data in transit from malicious or accidental exposure. Next, we also have secure web proxy as a PSC service attachment. This mainly helps customers who want to centralize their egress control now can deploy secure web proxies in a hub and spoke fashion, and also will not run into any peering, VPC peering limitations that some of the customers with very large number of VPCs faced before. And finally, we are now also supporting a new use case where some customers who have cloud workloads reaching out to backend service APIs that reside on-prem can now use secure web proxy as a egress URL control and make sure that these workloads are only accessing authorized APIs. You can learn a lot more about these use cases. We'll also have Broadcom joining us and demonstrating this cool new functionality of inline network DLP. So please make sure to attend Sec 302 later today, where we'll be talking about this. Next, we'll talk about Cloud NAT, which is our managed network address translation service that really helps any resources in Google without an external IP to communicate to the internet as well as between VPCs. The two main use cases for Cloud NAT is one, it acts as a network privacy service. So you can make sure that any Google resource that is communicating externally does not reveal its private NIC interface. Second, you also have it can act as an IP collapsing service. So if you have thousands and thousands of workloads that require IP allocations, now NAT can make sure that you only need a very subset of allow listed IPs to access these external destinations. NAT is also built on the same distributed architecture as NGFW that I spoke about, so no routing changes needed, and it works in line with our cloud NGFW. Now let's look at some new features in this area. We have hybrid NAT, which is our newest product offering within Cloud NAT. This is going to help translations for any resource that has to talk to hybrid destinations. With Preview, we'll be supporting destinations learned over VPN as well as interconnect. Second, we have private inter-VPC NAT. So think about translations for communications between VPCs where there is overlapping private IP address resources, and they want to communicate to each other. Now you can do that, even if these VPCs are in the same region or across regions. And finally, we have hitless DPA support. So in this, now we can help customers migrate from static port allocations to dynamic port allocation mode without any packet loss or connection issues. Also, this can help in better NAT IP resource utilization. It also auto scales when there is any connection spikes seen in customer workloads. Finally, with GKE networking and network policy, customers can achieve a consistent security posture within their GKE infrastructure, specifically, network policy provides granular security control down to the namespace granularity level. Now, when you can combine this with Cloud NGFW, Secure Proxy, or NAT, you can get not only granular security control, but you also get advanced threat protection, both for outbound communications from your cluster and also inbound communications to your cluster. Some of the new features include secure tag support for GKE. As I've mentioned before, secure tags give you that granularity and workload level identification. Now you can take that granularity one step further in the clusters down to the node pool level. You can use these with your Cloud NGFW firewall policy rules, and it also applies to both your standard instances as well as your GKE autopilot instances. Second, we have the cluster-wide network policy. Now, this gives a lot more wide control to your GKE platform admins, where you can apply a single policy to every namespace in a given cluster. You can also, for example, a SecOps team wants to make sure that you can apply a baseline security policy to all of the namespaces, and thereby ensuring that your application teams are starting off with secure by default. Finally, you have flexible FQDN matching conditions. In this, now you can limit any egress communications from your clusters to APIs, other cloud services, or any other fully qualifiable domain names, and you can get that granular control. Any traffic that is matching a network policy with FQDN enabled now gets automatically logged and is part of your cloud monitoring, so you can use this for troubleshooting and incident response. Finally, we also have this available in GKE v2 data plane, as well as you have it for GKE enterprise users as well. Now, I would like to hand it off to Peter to talk about protecting global application frontends.
All right. Thanks, Sid. Great. So let's get into what's new with protecting global application front ends. Our global front-end solution allows you to deliver, scale, and protect internet-facing web services and other services globally. I'm going to cover new capabilities across 3 products that are used for protecting those global front ends. First is Cloud Armor, which provides our DDoS and web app firewall capability. And it stops some of the largest DDoS attacks in the world. In fact, tomorrow we have a session on that talks about the massive attack that we took on last year. Load balancing, which provides global traffic termination, delivery, and control. Plus, it's what coordinates talking to your origins, whether they're in our cloud or on-prem or in other clouds. And then Recaptcha Enterprise, which helps protect against fraudulent activity and abuse without creating friction for users. All this is provided globally for apps running in Google Cloud, but as I said, you can also use it for applications that are in other clouds, on-prem, or in colos. Now let's dig into some of the details. So first off, Cloud Armor. So this is what provides the DDoS protection and web protection with a web application firewall. It helps protect against both known attacks and unknown attacks. We use the same team's technology and infrastructure in Cloud Armor that we use to protect our own Google services. So over the last 2 decades, we've got a ton of experience making sure search, YouTube's maps, those properties are robust from attacks, and you can use the same technology and the teams that do DDoS defense across our properties as well. It's got built-in rules for common attacks, things like SQL injection, cross-site scripting, and much more. Plus, it's got an AI/ML Layer 7 DDoS protection system. It'll model all the normal traffic to your system. It'll find attacks, and now it can actually automatically deploy mitigations for those. And I'd like to point out we had AI/ML like 3 years ago, so we've been at this for a while. It's been battle-tested in production and seen some really big attacks. And then also for our annual subscribers, we provide DDoS response services. So you can actually call someone up and get help during an active attack for those on the annual subscription. So the new innovations in Cloud Armor are Cloud Armor Enterprise. This is the new name for our most premium tier. It has all the advanced features, threat intelligence, the adaptive protection system I talked about, the DDoS response team. And now what we've introduced is pay-go pricing. So in addition to the annual subscription, you can do pay-as-you-go for the top tier of Cloud Armor. We've also now enhanced our adaptive protection system with more granular modeling of traffic, specifically for people that are using microservices. So for example, the checkout sequence on your website might go to certain paths. You can tell us that's a microservice, and we'll actually model that specific traffic. It does a better job of helping us find and protect low-frequency attacks. And then the last thing is we're excited to announce at the show that we're expanding Cloud Armor inside the cloud. So you can actually now deploy Cloud Armor. It's going into preview with our internal web load balancers. So you can use that for protecting applications that maybe you expose to internal users, not just out on the public internet. And Cloud Armor not only protects web services, but it can also help protect a broad set of TCP and UDP-based protocols. We have customers using it to protect gaming servers, VoIP services, SaaS services with IPsec VPNs, and more. Some of the recent innovations in Cloud Armor related to DDoS protection are first custom rule creation for TCP and UDP-based protocols. So you can block by IP, country, or whole network using an ASN code. Also new is, and unique to us really, is customer control over deep protocol inspection. So this gives you the ability to peer into the TCP and UDP packets coming in, and we can actually ensure that they conform to the expected protocols and only allow that traffic in, which helps block network attacks. And finally, we've enhanced visibility to, and telemetry to layer 3 and 4 DDoS attacks. So you can see how Cloud Armor is helping protect your properties from attacks and how the volume and type of attacks is changing over time. We've got a dedicated session tomorrow where we're going to talk about Cloud Armor, SEC 219. We're going to cover that world's largest DDoS attack. It was 398 million HTTPS requests per second. It was massive. It was 4 times as big as the attacks we saw the year before. And our customer Uber is actually also presenting in that session as well, talking about how they deal with DDoS and web app firewall. Next up, our global load balancer terminates HTTPS traffic, it scales your services, and it coordinates communication with your backend infrastructure. We already support serving from origins outside of Google Cloud. So you can use an IP address or an FQDN anywhere on the internet. You can actually use HAVPN as well to connect out to an origin that's in another cloud or on-prem or in a colo. But that requires opening ports out to the public internet, and some people aren't comfortable with that, even though you can kind of lock it all down. So here at Next, we're announcing the ability to access web origins privately over the internet. So with our app connector technology, you can actually access web origins that don't have any open ports to the internet. The way it works is we'll run dual agents that can live in a VM or a container. They'll spin up in your origin environment, connect out over the internet to a service running in Google Cloud, and establish a secure tunnel. We'll use that then to map requests into your origin. So you don't have to open any ports out to the internet. And this is going into private preview. If you're interested in getting access to this, contact your sales team, and they can help you get in touch with all of us, and we'll hook you up with that. And then we're announcing the release of our new CI/CD automation toolkit for protecting internet-facing applications with our global front-end solution. This integrates Cloud Armor, our Cloud Load Balancer, and Cloud CDN into popular CI/CD platforms, things like GitLab, Jenkins, and our own Cloud Build. It's an opinionated approach, so it's actually got best practices that we've learned working with customers built in across those 3 products. And it's a toolkit, so you can use the whole thing, or what we've seen a lot of times is people will just pick little bits and pieces of it because they've already maybe got some initial integration going. But it used to take our customers a couple months to integrate things nicely into their CI/CD pipelines. Now you can be up in days to a week. And in addition to the toolkit, we've also released a new architecture guide with deployment guidance in our Cloud Architecture Center for the global front end. This CI/CD integration toolkit includes recommended settings for delivering and protecting web applications. And then it's, one of the big values is pre-created workflows for doing things like a deployment of your application plus the configuration for the global front end, being able to do updates, rollbacks, and that'll do operations across all 3 products in unison. And then we've also done a lot of work around canary rollout support. So we've got a bunch of new advanced traffic control in the load balancer, and so we've created all the workflows in here that allows you to do canary rollouts. You can test new versions of your application, expose them to partial levels of traffic, ramp up, you can roll back if there's a problem. Next up is our service extensions capability, which really opens up the web data plane to make it programmable. What's unique here is you can hook into our global edge, we're talking about here with GFE, but it'll also work with our global app load balancers, the secure web proxy that Sid talked about, and later in the year, cloud service mesh. So you get a uniform approach. You integrate once, you can use it across our web data plane. So customers and partners can get all the hooks to do things like origin routing. You can add additional services for security to inspect and protect requests. You can also do traffic services if you want to manipulate headers or even adjust the HTML coming from your origins. One of the new integrations is actually from Google. So Apogee is using it to hook in so they can monitor traffic going through the load balancer to detect and help you deal with shadow APIs. And then at the show, we're announcing a number of new security partners that are developing or already have integrations to service extensions. So Broadcom with DLP from Symantec, you heard about from Sid. Imperva is building a WAF for GKE clusters. Palo Alto Networks has a web protection capability. Humans got a bot protection capability. Traceable has an API protection capability. And so those are all vendors that are hooking into service extensions. In addition to the partners using this, we're releasing a set of example integrations. This has been built so customers can actually take it and extend it. So we've got a bunch of examples that you can use and extend, anything from manipulating headers to blocking requests. And it'll all be out on a public GitHub. And then the last area I wanted to cover for our global application front ends is Recapture Enterprise. So this is a global cloud service plus code on the endpoint, either JavaScript or an SDK you integrate to your mobile apps to help detect and stop fraud and abuse. It's got an adaptive risk scoring system, so if you think something sketchy is up, you can do a multi-factor. If you know it's bad, you can just block it or send it to alternate content. And despite the name, it's frictionless. So you're not solving puzzles. It's all done under the covers without bugging the user. And it's all well integrated into Cloud Armor. So we can take those signals and block, or we can redirect to other content. Some of the recent innovations have been GenAI fraud reports that provide information on new global fraud trends, and then site-specific threats to your own properties that you've got configured with it. And then we've also added anomaly detection in the reCAPTCHA dashboard, so this helps simplify investigations into fraud and bot activity. You can actually learn more tomorrow. There's a breakout session just on reCAPTCHA Enterprise in Sec 128, and it'll cover this in much more detail. Next, I'd like to hand things over to Richard from McKesson to talk about how they use network security in their own environment. Thanks.
Hi, everyone. My name is Richard Prasad. I'm a network security architect with Cover My Meds. We're a division of McKesson. We are in the healthcare industry. As a network security architect, I research, design, implement, and help maintain the network and network security that protect our environments and workloads. I wanted to talk a little today about network security design, about traditional network security design versus modern network security design. What we have here is a typical hub and spoke design. So at the center, we've got our hub. In the hub, all of our networking and network security is centered in there. At the core of that network security are VM-based Palo Alto firewalls. We use these firewalls for layer 7 inspection. The VPC spokes are essentially an application or an application group. The spokes are all peered to the hub, and everything has to go through this hub. So if application A needs to talk to B, it's going to go through this hub. If B needs to talk to on-prem, it's going to go through that VPN connection to get back to on-prem. If C needs to get out to the internet, it's going to go through the hub as well and through those Palo Alto VM firewalls. Separately, we have an inbound hub. So this inbound hub is for internet-based customers as they're coming in, they will traverse this inbound hub. This inbound hub has its own networking and network security stack. It has VM-based Palo Alto firewalls, as well as VM-based WAF devices. We also include cloud firewalls to help with a lot of noisy traffic. The sandboxes are an isolated environment for testing new tech and new ideas. So this design works great as a version 1 design for lift and shift migrations into the cloud, or if you have monolithic applications. And it works great because it's a pretty familiar design, and it's a relatively simple design. Now, while organizations matures and apps evolve into a more cloud-friendly, container-based microservice architecture, we start to see some challenges with this design, with this traditional VM-based designs. So as the apps become more complex and distributed, the traditional design has static boundaries and static perimeter defenses. Dynamic cloud environments, the workloads are very rapidly scaling. They're fluid and geographically diverse. The traditional VM-based design cannot keep up with the rapid scaling. Now, even though our VMs are auto-scaled, these container-based apps can scale up to thousands of containers within a matter of few minutes, whereas spinning up new VM-based firewalls takes a lot longer. The deployment challenges is that it is difficult to have a seamless delivery integration with the development lifestyle when you're running a traditional VM-based design. The lack of agility and granularity is not there when using a traditional VM-based design. Then there are the operational challenges. The VM upgrades that you have to worry about, which OS version is going to be compatible, the lifecycle maintenance, as well as licensing and sizing costs. In order to help network security keep pace with modern apps, Google has released quite a few cloud-native tools to enable modern network security to integrate with modern applications. And these are just a few of the ones that are more specific to networking and network security. Partner interconnects, they enable hybrid design. The cloud firewall that Sid talked about enables next-gen features and microsegmentation. It does layer 7 inspection, and it has a best-in-class Palo Alto threat engine for IPS protection and easier implementation of TLS inspection. Cloud Armor for DDoS and web app protection. Cross-cloud network for multi-cloud enablement. And we've also got Cloud NAT, VPC service controls, and the Cloud Secure Web Proxy for egress, including DLP. So to help put this all together, let's see what a more modern network design is going to look like. So this is a similar hub and spoke design, but it is a more elegant solution with cloud-native technology. So at the core, we have our Cloud NGFW. This is going to allow us to simplify with only one VPC and multiple subnets. This allows us to avoid managing multiple VPC peerings. So because of the design simplicity and cloud-native integration, it is easier to understand and maintain. It's easier to implement microsegmentation, and the distributed data plane will increase our overall performance. Being powered by Palo Alto, threat engine, we can actually increase our layer 7 visibility and increase the efficacy of our design. Partner interconnects handle hybrid connectivity. Cloud Armor to handle the inbound connections and to manage OWASP top 10 and DDoS. Cross Cloud Connect for multi-cloud connectivity. And then we have additional services such as, additional services such as Cloud NAT, VPC Services Control, Cloud Secure Web Proxy. So with the addition of these cloud-native offerings to the product catalog, we're able to increase our efficacy to the same or better level protection as with the VM appliances. There's no VM maintenance. We can actually concentrate on security and not the server administration side of our firewalls. We increase our agility by introducing less complications. On the scale and coverage, the distributed data plane will allow for less devices overall without losing performance or resiliency. We can achieve east-west and north-south protection without the static boundaries of a traditional VM approach. It also increases the simplicity of the design and maintenance, we have better integration into pipelines, faster deployment times. So I would now like to hand the presentation back to the next speaker.
Thank you, Richard. So just to quickly summarize everything that we discussed today, we talked about all our cloud network security products that can protect your distributed cloud workload environments, protecting any cloud, any service, and your services that are exposed to the public internet using our global front-end infrastructure. And then just to wrap up, here's a code. You can scan it, and if you're interested, our experts will reach out to you for more information. And lastly, please don't forget to fill in your feedback for the session. We would love to hear what you liked, and we would also like to know what else you would like us to add to this 200 level session. And thank you.